What's going on, you guys? Theo here with the big review, back yet again with another King of Fighters Allstar video. Happy Monday to all of you. I hope you all enjoyed your weekends. In today's video, we are going to be covering several different topics here that we have not been able to cover on the channel the past few days with all of the excitement revolving around the Boss Syndrome event. So we're going to be covering the Yamata no Orochi event, talking about how it is completely and utterly borked. Then we are also going to be covering those new craftable stones that came along with that event and seeing whether or not they are going to be worth the absolute frustration that it will take in order to get them. And then we are also going to be catching up on how I did during the YouTuber live stream the other day for the summon battle for the Boss Syndrome characters and cards, and giving you guys an update on what I was able to get there. And then we're going to be finishing it off with a crystal summon from all the crystals that we have been collecting over the course of the past few weeks with the Boss Syndrome events and more, as well as a couple of unified banner multis with some tickets. So before we do all that, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing that I would like to cover here is going to be how I did during that live stream, and big shout out to Gunny as always for being gracious enough to host the event and doing that for everybody and keeping everyone organized. Big shout out to you, buddy. I appreciate you. But as you guys may or may not be aware, if you paid attention during my summoning spree the other day on the Boss Syndrome banner, we were one memory away from A5ing our geese, and thankfully we were able to go ahead and pick that up. Now, I did not win this live stream, for those of you who are wondering, and Rexpleet, big congratulations to you for being the winner of this third live stream. But when it comes to what we were able to pick up here, we did end up going all the way to the third pity, as I had mentioned in that summoning spree video that we did the other day. We were probably going to have to do that in order to max this guy out, but thankfully we were able to get it done. I love this character. I'm very excited. I'm going to be bringing you guys a showcase and a spotlight for all of these characters and these cards in the coming days, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to be doing the spotlight for Geese first, because I have a lot to say about this character and I really like him. I think he's phenomenal, so stay on the lookout for that. That video should be in your guys' hands here in the next couple of days. But we were able to max him out. However, that was not the only news coming out of that live stream for us. Now, unlike a lot of the live streams that we have done with the YouTuber streams for the summoning battles, this time around we actually were able to go ahead and go for cards. That was something that we had opened up and done differently this time around. So I took full advantage, and thankfully I was able to go ahead and pick up the City of Darkness set. So I have one set for the new Fest set for the new Boss Syndrome Volume 2 cards, which I will also be bringing you guys a spotlight on here in the next couple of days. Be doing some damage comparisons and going in and talking about the different areas of PvE that this card set might be viable. But I am very happy to have this set. This was something that I did not think that I would be able to pick up before the end of the event, but being that we were able to get pretty lucky with the characters themselves, I was able to go ahead and spend more rubies on cards, and luckily the card banner treated me better than some of the other card banners in the past. So my luck with card banners turned with this as well. So overall, my luck has definitely turned with the Boss Syndrome event, which is pretty good timing overall. But that is going to be how I ended up faring. I was able to pick up more of the option cards as well. And I also got, I think, another 4 finishers for Geese, which I don't even know how that happens. It just turned out that I kept getting finisher after finisher after finisher, multi after multi on that live stream. It became kind of a running joke. So thank you guys for showing up and joining us during the live stream. If you were able to make it out, we appreciate all of you. Definitely was a fun time, and I look forward to the next one. But we will be giving you guys spotlights on all these things later on throughout the week. But there were some topics that I wanted to go ahead and cover today before we get into all of that later on this week. So let's go ahead and play catch up and talk about a few things that have been going on the past couple of days, starting out with this Yamata no Orochi event, which is going to definitely have some issues. So let's go ahead and talk about them real quick. By now, I'm sure you guys are aware of what the False Calamity Orochi event is, but this is going to be a co-op dungeon in which you can take 2 friends with you in order to get through either the hard, expert, or lunatic difficulty, or you can just jump into a random lobby with 2 random players and go ahead and try and do this once per day. So overall with this, the reason why you would be doing it in the first place is you will be able to get enhancement hammers and be able to get even more enhancement hammers from the drops if you are playing with multiple people. I'm assuming this was a way to dissuade veteran players from just going in and soloing these modes, since other players that are going to be lower level are not able to do so themselves, and therefore they rely on having somebody there like a veteran player to carry them through these things for these rewards. But the other big reason why you would be doing this would be for the craft coins that you're able to get, so that you can go into the craft menu and get those new stones that we are also going to be talking about here. And with this event, when it comes to co-op events in general, I want them to be successful, but unfortunately I just don't have anything positive really to say about this event in its current state, unfortunately. So looking here, these are going to be your rewards. So if you start out on the lowest difficulty, of course you're going to get the Orochi coins for the craft menu, and then you'll also be able to get some uncommon hammers. And then once you get away from the hard difficulty and you start getting into the higher tiers, you're going to be able to get the rare enhancement hammers, which is good. We all need hammers right now, especially with the boss syndrome banners taking up a ton of our hammers for those new stones. But when it comes to the craft menu itself, right, because that's really the big reason and the big selling point to this, what are you able to craft? Well, the first thing you're able to craft is you're able to craft these soul dust boxes. Now, unfortunately, these are only going to give you regular soul dust, so you're not able to get purple dust from these, which is really unfortunate. As you guys are aware, if you watch my videos, I am a huge proponent of purple dust so that you can get tokens for the unified banner, but unfortunately not the case with these. Now that's when you start to get into the other rewards, and we have had these in the data mines that we've talked about ad nauseum at this point. We've talked about these types of data mines for a while with these types of stones, and we didn't know really what they were going to do, although we could infer kind of ideas as to what they were going to be doing based on the fact that they had the symbols for these different skills on them. And if you go in here and take a look, you can get these stones currently from crafting. You can only get one of each type of stone at max, however. And the problem is, though, and it's nice that this has that increase to the blast skill, the strike skill, the grab skill damage by a set percentage for 10 seconds when you're in your awakening rotation, because I do feel like that would be more beneficial on a lot of different characters than the dot boost that we get with regular R stones. But the problem is these are all HP stones, right? So unfortunately, even if you wanted to use these and test these, they're really not even going to be better than the stones that we already have, because they're only HP stones. And that really sucks. And it's another instance in this event with this update where they decided to really skimp on us with these stones, because you're really just never going to use HP. Yes, if you're a new player, it might be nice for you to be able to get up to 3 of these stones easily so that you might have options, because unfortunately, let's just be honest, new players really don't have the ability to get R stones very easily from things such as Guild Raid and Immortal Dungeons, because they're just not able to do those modes. But that just makes it even worse in my opinion, because they're just not able to do anything with these stones, because I can't even tell you guys it would be a wise investment to go up to like maybe level 5, level 6 or something like that as placeholders until you get better stones, because I just feel like it would be a waste of hammers. So unfortunately, even if this entire event was in a working state and it wasn't broken the way that it is, which I'm about to show you guys some footage of in-game doing this mode and just showing you what it is like trying to do Lunatic as an example, it's unfortunate. So really, this entire event could have been decent, because I do think that the idea of doing these very tough and difficult boss dungeons where you need to pair up with some friends in order to take down these bosses for these rewards is inherently a really good idea. And I think that these stones inherently could be really good on specific characters. Like, for instance, the strike one, if it were attack, putting it on a character like Orochi Iori would probably be really good. But even then, we don't have that option to even try it and test it out, because they only gave us the HP ones, which, you know, I guess there's a silver lining here with that, in considering the fact that really, if they had given us the best types of stones in here, and this would have been as buggy as it actually is, then people would have been even more upset because they couldn't do this anyway and get those stones because they're having issues with the Lunatic difficulty even running. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you guys some footage that I threw together. And I've tried doing this mode numerous times. Obviously, hard and expert you can still get through. That doesn't seem to have anywhere near the amount of issues. But if you go through here and you take a look at Lunatic, right? And I've heard all sorts of different theories. Some people have told me that I shouldn't use specific cards. Some people have told me I shouldn't use specific characters. Some people have told me just stay away from the BS characters that are the new ones for the Volume 2 and you might be okay. And I have tried any number of things and it just seems like it's a complete and utter crapshoot. Like, it's just one of those things where it's either going to work and you're going to be able to do this or you're not. And for me, unfortunately, every instance in which I've tried it, which at this point has been about 8 or 9 times, I just am not able to do it. And the weird thing about it is there's a different bug each and every time I do it. Now, there is one that is more consistent than others. The most consistent one, and you'll see it in this clip, is basically, and you guys, if you've tried to beat this mode, have probably noticed this and have experienced this firsthand. Whenever you get the boss down to his last health bar and you beat him, it'll tell you that he's KO'd and it'll tell you that you won, but that false sense of security is quickly thrown out the window because all of a sudden you realize that the game is just going to freeze and or it is just going to be stuck there on the screen with nothing going on, and you can still move around and use your skills, but unfortunately you can't do anything, and then eventually it'll time out. You'll end up getting the nuke from the boss as if he's still standing there somewhere, and then you'll all die and it'll tell you you failed even though you didn't. And it's just another instance where I know that the previous co-op dungeons, the previous ones weren't too bad. They worked pretty well for what they were. They were a little bit choppy, but for the most part, they were working just fine. But unfortunately, in this instance, for the first time they release one of these co-op dungeons where it's actually kind of maybe worth trying to do it, and it actually is kind of a fun one because, like I said, that Yamata dragon that they've got and all this other stuff that's going on in this thing is pretty cool. But unfortunately, it's just broken, and it's not even worth the time investment because this is not a quick clear. I think I've timed the average time for a Lunatic run is about 5 to 7 minutes or so on average. So it's not the longest thing in the world, but it's also not the shortest thing in the world. So it is a bit of a time investment, and being the fact that this game already demands so much time from all of its players on a daily basis as it is, having one more thing to do like that, and then for it not to work in the first place, is just frustrating. So here's another instance, and this is another example where I tried to not use one of the new characters because somebody had told me that that would maybe fix things. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try that at least and see if this is going to work. And for the most part, it seemed like it was going to there for a little while at the beginning. Everything seems to be going well. As you can see on screen, everything is in working order, except for the fact, if you pay attention to my buttons, what's going on? Why are none of my skills on cooldown after my awakening rotation's over? And why am I able to just spam my skills? It's because I'm disconnected and the game is just giving you, again, that false sense of security that, hey, I'm working. No, you're not. I should have just quit out and just been done with it right here, but unfortunately I just wanted to play it out and see if it would actually work through this. But by the end of this, you guys will be able to see it does not. And even though we did take the boss down, and yes, we had somebody DC as well, which again, the DC issues and the connection issues with this are abysmal for most players. I haven't had many issues, but I do realize that not everybody is going to have an ROG phone or anything like that like I do. So, you know, it's understandable that for some people, maybe on lower end phones, they might have connectivity issues, or, you know, depending on what their location is, they might have issues there, kind of, you know, syncing up with you and the other people in the room. But this is just ridiculous. And honestly, guys, it is to the point where I almost feel comfortable telling you guys not to do this in general, and that it's entirely a waste of your time because you're probably not going to be using those stones for anything anyway, and that regular soul dust, you really don't need it for this. But it's one of those things where I do feel like the hammers themselves are worth it, and being that you can actually get the gold ones from the middle difficulty, you might as well at least try to do expert, and that's what you're seeing here is an expert run, and this one runs far more smoothly. For whatever reason, like I said, Lunatic tends to be the only one that is having major issues for whatever reason, but it is what it is. If I'm able to figure out a way that I can reliably get through Lunatic, I will be sure to share that with you guys, and if anybody has any ideas on that themselves, let me know in the comment section. But from everything I have tested and I have seen, unfortunately, it does not appear as though that there is going to be a tried and true method at getting through this reliably 100% without any issues, and that's really unfortunate because, like I said, I'm a fan of these types of things, and I would like these types of modes to work and be good, but unfortunately, in its current state, it's just not, and it is one of those things that is disappointing because this could have been good, and this is yet another instance where with the stones, Netmarble is proving to be stingy as all hell, but at the same time, this one is less unforgivable than the thing going on with the boss syndrome stones currently, only based on the fact that if this thing wasn't going to work anyway, at least we aren't missing out on anything of any real value. And that is really the biggest takeaway from this. I can't even tell you what the difference is in the hammer drops from expert to lunatic if we're missing out on much there, because honestly, I can't do it. So let's move on to better things and do a short summon session though. Alright you guys, so we have a ton of crystals saved up for the Kaya special summon thanks to going in on the boss syndrome banner so hard. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this, and then we're also going to have some tickets for the unified banner that we can use. I also have a couple of those boss syndrome boxes that I got from the exchange shop that we'll go ahead and redeem as well. Not like we're going to actually get anything good from those or expect anything good considering the fact that Netmarble decided to screw that up too. But hey, it is what it is. If anything, at least we can say that the rest of this event was pretty good, but overall, the stone issues that have gone on repeatedly with this event, whether or not it is pertaining to the Volume 1 banner, man, Noah cards love me, I swear. I have so many Noah sets. But whether it is going to be the fact that we can't get the free stones for awakening either Rugal or Orochi again, like we did with the original Boss Syndrome run when they first came out, or with those Boss Syndrome boxes for the mystery boxes for the stones, or with the Yamata dungeon with those stones like we've talked about, with the fact that that is so buggy and the fact that they gave us only the HP stones. Everything stone-wise in this update is pretty much a fail, and it's really unfortunate because I do not want to make negative videos like this all the time and talk about these types of things. I would prefer for it to be a situation where we get these new events like these co-op dungeons and they actually work, and then I can do things like go into the Discord and wrangle people up. Hey, that's cool. We needed that. We are now one card away. Yep, one card away. We need one more of the first one in order to make a third set for the Serena cards, which is going to help out a great bit in a lot of different things. So that's awesome. Let's go ahead. We'll open up these here. And speaking of disappointment with stones, you know, you get these, right, and you would think that, okay, this is exciting, maybe I can get something good, but there's really no mystery to it. I already knew I'm not going to get anything good. I mean, there you go, like HP and HP defense, lovely. It's not like I have the option of getting the good ones anyway, because again, Netmarble decided to not include them. So it's just another instance, like I said, with this co-op dungeon where it's something where I was kind of excited for it because I was thinking, okay, this could be cool. I can get some friends together or get some viewers together. We can have some fun. And it's not. And it's really unfortunate, you guys. I want them to do better with these types of things. And if they know that they can't release these co-op dungeons in a working manner, then just don't release it at all. And the reason I say that, despite the fact that the last few co-op dungeons have worked just fine, is the fact that they clearly knew something must have been going on because they moved the release date for this current one back a day from its original release, and I'm assuming they held it back because there was something wrong going on in the background. But they still released it anyway. They had to have known it wasn't working correctly. Maybe they didn't, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that they do a whole lot of playtesting with some of these modes, considering the state that they're in when they release, but it's just a mess. Now, another facet of this being different from the last few, oh, we're getting a fess. What's it going to be? Then we'll come back to that point. All right, we're going to get Gonits. So, more memories, more soul dust, we'll take it. So, you know, it being the fact that they did change the netcode for the servers for PvP, I'm sure that that probably has something to do with it. Being the fact that they did change netcode, that affects the netcode across any of these different modes where you're connecting to other people. So I'm assuming that it has something to do with it. However, I cannot be sure of that. There's no way of me knowing. So this is all assumption, but even then, they should have been playtesting this before they released it to the public to make sure it worked. And if it didn't work, I think we all would have been happier had they just told us that it didn't work, and then we could have just moved on. But unfortunately, that is not the case. However, we are getting yet another fest. Let's see here. It's a Mr. Karate, obviously, so yeah, but that's pretty much my 2 cents on it, guys. I tried not to rant too much in this video about this situation, but I did want to at least cover it since I hadn't done so already. And so yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just another mode that isn't going to work and we're just going to be disappointed. But that's today's video, guys. I will be back later on with a showcase and a spotlight for both of these Boss Syndrome characters, as well as the newest fest set added into the game with this banner. So look forward to those videos throughout the week this week. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.